The Catholic Church is in the middle of another disastrous scandal. A report from the Attorney General of Pennsylvania shows in excruciating detail that 300 priests abused 1,000 children. Then, over the weekend, the Vatican's former ambassador to the U.S. wrote a letter alleging that Pope Francis knew about sex abuse charges against former Cardinal Theodore McCarrick, but that Francis covered up the allegations for years. McCarrick resigned in June after allegations of sexual abuses of a minor and 3 other incidents of sexual misconduct with adults. The 11-page letter from the former Vatican ambassador calls on Pope Francis to resign. Look, I'm not Catholic. I've never been Catholic. I know a lot of good people who are Catholic, but that's about my closest connection to the church. But today we're going to ask a very uncomfortable question. Has the coverage of this scandal been accurate? In some ways, it's been too generous. Namely, the number of 1,000 children abused is almost definitely too low. As the report states, we were given the job of investigating child sex abuse in 6 dioceses. These 6 dioceses account for 54 of Pennsylvania's 67 counties. They didn't even look at 13 entire counties and they found 1,000 kids. And that's not all. We believe that the real number of children whose records were lost or who were afraid to ever come forward is in the thousands. And it wasn't just the molestation, it was how the church handled it. After one priest admitted the quote you're going to see on the screen right here, which I refuse to read because I know they'll pull it out of context and use it against me, the diocese concluded that, quote, the experience will not necessarily be a horrendous trauma for the victim. The priest was left in unrestricted ministry for several more years despite his own confession. That might not be all that surprising. We all knew it was really bad, but we needed to look deeper. Let's start with a statement of fact. What did we know before this latest scandal? For a long time, the Catholic Church was populated by way too many clergy members who were sexually assaulting children. It was far too widespread, and the way the church handled the allegations was a gigantic dumpster fire. This started to come to light in 2002, most famously through the reporting of the Boston Globe. They even made a movie about it called Spotlight.
Why are we hesitating? Barron told us to get law. This is law.
Barron told us to get the system. We need the full scope. That's the only thing that will put an end to this.
Then let's take it up to Ben, let him decide.
We'll take it to Ben when I say it's time.
It's time, Robbie. It's time. They knew, and they let it happen. 2 kids. Okay? It could have been you. It could have been me. It could have been any of us. We got to nail these scumbags. We got to show people that nobody can get away with this. Not a priest or a cardinal or a freaking pope.
Movies about journalism are always more exciting than journalism. Unsurprisingly, Spotlight won Best Picture because this is what happens when you expose something evil in a church. They make a movie about you that wins lots and lots and lots of awards. The movie came out in 2015, 2 years before Chappaquiddick, a movie that took so long to get made that Ted Kennedy actually died of old age before they made it. The actress who played Mary Jo Kopechne had no recollection of the incident because she wasn't born until 14 years afterwards. She also seems to be Hollywood's go-to girl when you need to get someone killed by a corrupt politician, but that's another story. It's not possible to overstate how disturbing the scandal is. It shakes to the core the foundational institution that millions of Americans look for guidance, leadership, and safe harbor. The fact that so many at the church exploited that trust is as despicable as it gets. We knew that. Now the church would like us to believe, however, that since 2002, they have taken it seriously. They have addressed it in some way, and they've tried to turn it around. Then this report lands like an atomic bomb, completely destroying the church's narrative. But what does this new report really tell us? This is the picture that the media has painted.
What's happening in the Catholic Church this week out of Pennsylvania is something that is going to have reverberations here. Pennsylvania grand jury report released this week identified more than 1,000 child victims of more than 300 abusive Catholic priests across the state of, that's just one state of Pennsylvania. This is in 2018. Never mind what we thought they made movies about in 2002 and things like that.
What appears to be the largest abuse scandal to shake the American Catholic Church yet. After a 2-year investigation, a Pennsylvania grand jury today alleged decades of abuse of children by more than 300 men described as predator priests.
Today in Dublin, Pope Francis got an earful about the church's response to the sexual abuse crisis. Some of the signs there in the crowd clearly not meant to welcome him.
More than 1,000 children were sexually abused by clergy, and the report finds the Catholic Church leaders actively protected and covered up for more than 300 predator priests.
Catholics around the world are processing a stunning report out of Pennsylvania detailing horrific sexual abuses of children by hundreds of priests across the state of Pennsylvania.
And this coverage was furthered emotionally by a video put out by the Pennsylvania Attorney General. Watch.
Thanks to Father Royer, he took that away from me.
I mean, it's affected my life so much.
This is a lifelong issue with survivors.
They have to be accountable, the church, for what they did.
What these people went through is as close to unforgivable as Christianity allows.